In this video, we'll look at how to deploy a P3 system controller in an installation or a rent application. But let's first look at the different P3 system controllers available. There's a P3-050, P3-150 and P3-300 system controllers, which are the rack mount units. There is also the P3-PC, which is a Windows-based application running on any Windows computer. The P3-PC application can also be installed directly onto a media server, such as for example a Green Hippo media server. The old and discontinued P3-100 and P3-200 system controllers are still supported by the latest P3 software. So all machines listed here run exactly the same version of the P3 software, make it very easy to learn and copy show files between the different machines. Let's start to look at how a P3 system goes together. The heart of the system is the P3 system controller. The rack mount units do not require an external computer for configuration and setup. You just connect a keyboard, monitor and mouse to them, and all software runs inside these machines. The P3 system controller is not a media server, so it will not play any video files itself, so an external video input is required into the P3 system controller. This could be a media server or other source, outputting DVI, HDMI or an SDI signal, and sending that video to the P3 controller. On the output side, the P3 system controller outputs the proprietary P3 protocol. This protocol is based on Gigabit Ethernet, so can be split and distributed using standard Gigabit Ethernet switches. In most applications, unmanaged switches are preferred as they offer the lowest latency and will not block some of the packets. As P3 is based on standard Gigabit Ethernet, other infrastructure such as fiber can also be used to distribute the P3 network to the fixtures. Connecting fixtures such as the Martin Video Phase 5 panels can happen directly to the Gigabit Ethernet switch or directly to the P3 system controller if only one chain of fixtures is needed. The fixtures are just daisy chained using standard network cables, and similarly Martin moving heads such as the Mac Allure can be added to the system. The only difference here is that the moving heads only run at 100 megabit Ethernet, so in this case a network switch is mandatory to convert the gigabit speed from the P3 system controller to the 100 megabit speed required for the moving heads. Between the moving heads they are just daisy chained using network cables. No DMX cables are needed in such application, as all data goes over one single network. Connecting fixtures such as the Martin Video Atomic Dot happens the same way. The only difference is that they require a PD junction box at the start of the chain, as this box merges the line voltage, power and P3 network cable over one single hybrid cable feeding the chain of fixtures. Some fixtures require an external power supply, and for this the Martin P3 power port is available, which connects also with Gigabit Ethernet. On the output side, the P3 power port can feed fixtures such as the Video Skeptron, Video Dotron and Video Fetron, receiving power and data over one single hybrid cable. Products such as the VC Strip and VC Grid are added to the system the same way and also receive low voltage power and data from the P3 power port. In most applications, a lighting controller is also added to the system so that fixtures can be controlled with video from the media server or DMX controls from the lighting desk, or a mix of both. The P3 system controller then merges these signals and sends them to the fixtures over one single cable. If you're working on an application where fixtures are moving, you can also add a motion control system to the P3 controller, which will then remap the video to these fixtures in real time. When starting P3-PC, you get the Select Network Interface dialog. This is specific to the P3-PC software only, and is not found on the P3 rack mount units. Here you identify which network interface to use for P3 output to the fixtures, thermal throttling, and ArtNet input from a lighting desk. For each of those functionalities you can assign one of the network ports available on your computer. So I choose this network port for P3 output and this one for ArtNet input from a lighting desk. Once again, this is specific for P3-PC only, as the rack mount P3 controllers have dedicated interfaces for each of those functionalities. Once you've identified the right interface, just click OK and the P3-PC software will start up.